All right, so I am using these in lieu of weighted balls because I don't want to be sore for my video photo shoot with Balanced Body tomorrow. So anyways, you would use like 2 to 4 pound weighted balls, pick your poison, whatever weight you want to use, or no weights. So the point of this little video is using the exo chair, using these weighted balls, but also just body weight to showcase a variety of shoulder movements that will improve range of motion, so overall shoulder mobility and stability. So we're going to be working on our strength, but also just overall improving our range of motion in the shoulders. We're totally going to work on our coordination because we are going to pair this with standing leg pumps, balancing work, facing the chair. So really this is going to be a full body exercise. We want to think about always moving from our core first, so drawing the abs in, making sure we're not flaring the ribs, arching or rounding the back, but keeping that nice stacked neutral spine, and all the while as our limbs are moving, so it gets a little crazy. And what I will probably start with is just set the weights down, get a feel for the spring, and just do some shoulder mobility without any weights. The key points for success are going to be, and I'm just going to show a few variations of each thing, by the way. I'm not going to do 10 reps of something. I'm just showing them what they can play with in their personal practice and classes. So parallel. For starters, just bring the ball of the foot onto the right pedal. Make sure you did not hike that hip up. You're keeping both sides of the waistline from the lower ribs to hip bone, your ASIS nice and lengthened. You're not scrunching up on that right side. Okay, so pelvis facing forward, shoulders facing forward. Make sure that if you have someone to look at you or a mirror, you're not hiking one shoulder higher than the other. So just breathe in, let the shoulders come down. Whatever you like with the arms, you can have hands on the hips, genie arms, really does not matter right now. I like hands on the hips as we get started, slight lift of that right heel. And I've got a 1 and a 4 on for my springs. You can go lighter, you can go heavier. I've done this up to 2 and 2 on the exo. It's a lot of work though. So whatever your intention is, you can go lighter or heavier if you want more of that strengthening challenge. So other things that I play around with are, if you've got someone who wants to spice things up and they are more advanced in their practice, you can keep a slightly lifted stance leg. So keeping that heel slightly lifted the whole time, staying weighted over the foot points from the ball of the foot to your pinky toe. I've had people do a little bit of coordination work where as the pedal goes down, the stance leg heel comes up and then it goes down, up, and down. So these are just going to be, this whole short form video is just going to be creative takes on the standing leg pumps on the chair, but making them way more spicy standing leg pumps. We're going to make things a lot more interesting. So I like this one a lot. Lifting the heel as the pedal goes down, lowering the heel as it goes up. I'm going to demonstrate on the other leg for some of the shoulder mobility things that I like to do and should do more of. So again, body scan, hip is not hiked, abs drawn in, nice relaxed upper body, not clenching the jaw. So some other stuff that you can do, aside from just our basic leg pumps and the heel lift variations, are some shoulder mobility. So you can have your arms out to the T position. I like to bring them slightly forward of the shoulders, so our shoulder blades are a little wide. You can totally do it back here in line with the shoulders, focusing on more retraction as well. But for today's purpose, we're going to be slightly forward in the plane of scaption, palms up. You can just do a few holding it here. So then we're going to add some shoulder mobility, some shoulder twists. What we're going to do, this is where coordination comes in. As the pedal goes down, you're going to look towards the left palm, the upward facing palm, and swivel that right shoulder into internal rotation. So your palm goes back, perhaps even up. I'm more limited on my right side because of an injury I had at birth. Then you come back to center, both palms are up, then you switch. Spin that left arm into shoulder internal rotation, so palm faces back, or perhaps spin it up towards the ceiling. You look towards the upward facing palm over to the right, like you're holding a bowl of soup there, back to center. I'm gonna go a little faster, but this doesn't have to be fast. We're throwing our balance a little bit askew because we're adding neck mobility which means our gaze is going side to side. We're not keeping it fixed, which is gonna mess around with our vestibular system, make things extra spicy. Reach across your wingspan, nice and long through those arms. Pedal moves down, twist and look. Pedal comes up, center, both palms up. When I'm doing these, the palm that's up, that side of my shoulder blade slightly more down on my back. The one that internally rotates slightly elevates a little bit. So you can notice those feelings in your body. I'm gonna go back to the other leg, shake that out. So that's one variation you can play with. I need to go faster, okay. Some other ones, snow angel arms and snow angel sweeps, okay. So as pedal, you start with the hands behind your back, like you're touching them up as far as you can on the back, kind of like on the reformer when we do that. Rowing, we slide the hands up the back, rowing facing back, and then stand nice and tall as you pass the pedal down. Arms go out to the side and up, and then arms come back as the pedal comes up. So meet their end destination at approximately the same time, and same time. Pedal down, arms up, tap the back of your head, reach through your wingspan, internally rotate. When I go out to about a T, that's where I flip palms forward. To make this a little more nuanced, for people who are more advanced, try to have them not press all the way to the baseboard, but just that little hover above it. So here, that little hover above the baseboard, all the way up. Standing tall, open chest. So I like doing these to work on the shoulder mobility. You can also just do snow angel sweeps. You can do this with or without weights. I like to start without weights if someone has not done this before. So palms facing forward, sweep, like you're doing a snow angel. Doesn't have to be like straight overhead, max shoulder flexion. For me, I'm always limited on my right side. Just keep it slightly forward of your body. Whatever feels accessible in your body, you can always go higher if that feels safe in your shoulders, feels good. You can change this up. I like to have palms facing forward to bias more external rotation, but you can also do like palms up as you go up, palms internally rotate as you go down. Really play with it. Something else that I like, you could do kind of a bit of rubbing your head, patting your belly, or patting your head, rubbing your belly, a bit of that. And I will do this also with Achilles tendon stretch. So let me show 2 variations, okay? Achilles tendon stretch, here, you can start with your fingertips. You secure that upper shin bone just below your kneecap. You start your pedal pumps, plantar flex and dorsiflex. How high and how low can you get that pedal to go? By using your wonderful ankle mobility. You could come here, arms out to a T, this time in line with your shoulders, palms up, reach your wingspan, and then it's like a little bit of coordination. You do small backwards circles the size of your weighted ball, the size of a pamplemousse, grapefruit. Keep reaching along through the arms. So this is like one variation. You could come from here and do your leg pumps as you continue to circle. I like that. That's a nice little flow. So you would go again from here. I'm here on my nice diagonal line, along from the heel, through my leg, through my body here, nice diagonal line, not arching the back, keeping a little bit of the rib engagement. I'm doing these, then I would shift back, find my balance, make any little adjustments, continue the pump, continue the circles. Okay, so that's one, another variation. Snow angel sweeps. Then we're gonna show a few things with the ball. So yeah, we are absolutely not gonna be able to do the hip airplanes in this video, but I can still plan that because maybe I can do that for my second video instead of the reformer. We'll see. I'll ask them. I'll tell them I have more planned if they want to do something else because I have the airplane thing planned. Okay, but anyways, then we're gonna go back to the right leg. And of course, like any of these you could do in turnout. So like I was demonstrating in parallel, but you can do any of these in a turned out position. Totally fine, like your Pilates V. But I'm gonna go back to parallel. So I'm here. So pretend these are weighted balls again. We'll show a few things. You can do lateral raises out to a T, play around with your grip, soft bend, micro bend in the elbow. Palms forward, palms down. We're working grip strength, or palms more up for your lateral raise. You could do more of a scaption raise, so forward about 30, 45 degrees. If this was like right out to the side, and this was 90, you'd be like 45 degrees is in the middle. So it's like a wide V. But why not do a frontal raise? Do a combo. Do a scaption raise. Do a T raise. So play around with it, play around with your grips, play around with how you're raising it, palms facing each other, up or down. Get those shoulders to be able to mobilize and stabilize, to mobilize in all the ways they're supposed to move, but also to be able to stabilize in each of those scapular and shoulder arm positions. So that's another one. Of course, I demonstrated the snow angel arms. You could totally do, well, another one I really like doing is overhead press, single arm or both. So let's show. Modified would be you alternate. 1, 2, stacking. You're wanting to keep these racked position here, so not way out here, but close to your body to make it easier. Wrist, try to have it over the elbow. It's hard for me on my side that's lacking rotational capacity from nerve damage, injury, but you can have the balls facing you or forward to start. So you could be up here with the balls facing forward by your shoulders, or here hugged in a little more. As you go up, rotate to face forward and then down. To modify though, it's an alternating sides. To get more advanced, you could go up, one comes down, and then goes back up, so you always have an isometric hold with one. That's how you can get a little more, you could progress it, I should say. Keeping one up as the other comes down. You could also be here in like that W position if you don't want to be here right in front of your shoulders. You could be slightly out in a W, palms facing forward. I believe that's called a military press. This one's harder for my shoulder though. So I like to usually just keep it here and closer to me, but you could do more of that military press. Try to keep your elbow over your wrist. Wrist over your elbow as best as you can, but think oppositional energy. Balls go up, leg goes down. So there's a few more. I'll show the other one, but I think the only one I'm going to show is 2 more that I really like, but there is one I was playing around with, like punching. So you could start, so as the pedal is up, you punch with that opposite arm. So I'm punching right arm if my left leg's up, and I bring the left arm back, I rotate a bit. And then as it goes down, I punch straight forward with the left, same as the leg that's pumping. I punch. I actually like this. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Getting that little bit of upper body rotation, but trying to keep, I have a little pinch in my back. Okay, did something in my back the other day. So my pelvis stays forward. It's a little bit of coordination again. So I start here, rotating, just the upper body. As pedal descends, punch forward, rotate upper body, punch forward. Rotate upper body, punch forward. Okay, so the last few things, you're going to use just one weighted ball, still using my spiky balls. Remember, any of these you can totally be in turnout, so maybe I will show the last few in turnout. Okay, like a Pilates feet. So, all about the deltoids for these. So we have this first one, you go from a T over the moon, jump over the moon, over your head. It's a pass, not a toss. You're not throwing the ball, but you're passing it with control. Always going out to the side. You can even go all the way down to your hip for fuller range of motion, or just stop at that T position. Okay, show the other leg for the last one I want to demonstrate. I want to show you how to modify it as well. So you go from that T, grow nice and tall. When the pedal's down, you transfer in front of your sternum, keeping the arm straight, always a soft bend in the elbow. Transfer as pedals down. People are gonna mess this up. They're gonna be here, and here, and here, and here, and that's okay too. Whatever works, they can totally do that. Transfer as pedals up, Press down as you go out to the side. Just choose something, and it's okay, let them move. It's all good movement. Let them just figure it out in their body. But how I do it usually is pedal down as you transfer, pedal up as you're out to the side. To make this easier, instead of having that longer lever here when you transfer the ball, bring it in, fold at the elbows to the other side. Fold at the elbows, transfer, other side. 2, 2. All right, so that's your creative variations. We are absolutely not going to be doing the hip cars today, but I'm just going to show it anyways in case they have time for a second demonstration. It's all about hip mobility. That's going to really help with any pain in the low back. We want to have our legs nice and supple, our hips nice and mobile and strong to take the ease some work off that lower back. So really helps with getting those hips to open up and be very mobile in their rotational capacity. And yeah, it's also going to be a little bit of a hamstring stretch on the standing leg, but we're also going to work the hamstrings from their lengthened state. We're going to ask them to contract as we stand up when we make this move a little more functional and implement a little bit of balancing work. So yeah, it's always good. We don't want our hamstrings to be super tight all the time. Many of us deal with that. We're sitting, so they get long up here and tense. They're tight down here, and that just doesn't feel good. So we want to really work on getting them to actually strengthen and not just stretch. And that's going to help you relieve a lot of tightness and pain in your back, especially that lower back. Because when our hamstrings are really tight and we're stuck in this position, we tend to often tip the pelvis forward to feel more balanced when we're really tight in those hamstrings. And that's going to put our lower back into more of that anterior pelvic tilt, which puts our back into lordosis. So yeah, all about strengthening those upper hamstrings. I call it the glamstring area, where the glutes meet the hamstrings. So we need a one weight. Sorry, I need to stretch my back. It's like really sore from too much stuff the last few days. So take a fidget wiggle break whenever you need to in my classes. Okay, so we start with a hip hinge, hip width apart. Just practice the hinge and up. Hamstrings contract to bring you up, hamstrings lengthen to bring you down. Just slightly bring the hands to the pedal. That's going to be our prep. Inhale down, exhale up to neutral. Inhale, hinge, pelvis tips forward, so that pelvis is tipping forward. Hips go back, hips come forward as pelvis goes back to neutral. It tips forward, rolls forward on the leg bones, rolls back. So that's our prep, that hip hinge. Then we go into our hinge. Bring our hands here. We start with just the support of both hands before getting crazy. We're gonna bring one leg. I'm gonna have my stance leg be the left, keep a soft bend in it, spread those toes. The right leg is my gesture leg. It's the one that's moving, it's expressing ideas through movement. The stance leg is my stable left leg. I have a light touch, I'm not pressing down on the pedals. Now I'm going to open my pelvis to the right, have a light touch of my fingers on that pedal, or just release it if I feel comfortable. And I can stay easier, gazing down towards the pedal harder, bring my gaze towards the right, towards the side I opened up to. I'm externally rotating through the top leg, and the bottom leg is also put in an externally rotated position by nature of moving the pelvis upon a fixed femur. So from here, this right hip is now stacked upon the left. I bring it back to neutral, where it is square right to left. My toes are towards the ground. Now I internally rotate the hip, so I soften that left knee a little more, so I can enable that right hip to go lower than the left side of the pelvis. My toes, my knees are angled like a laser beam coming out of the knee is streaming to the side. So there I get this really nice inner thigh engagement and stretch through the outer hips, especially on the stance leg. I go back through neutral. I open, 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 open. I can even straighten that leg here if that feels good. I like to usually keep a little bend in it. And then neutral, internal rotation. Nice. So I'm going to show on the next side how we're going to progress by taking a hand off. We're still not grabbing our weight though. So we did our hinges, We did our hinge, we stayed down. My stance leg is the right this time. I'm sending that left leg back. It's a lot of glute work, strong through the backs of the leg, okay? So here, now to progress, I open the hips. I take this left arm, I bring that hand like I'm pulling something towards my left shoulder, armpit area. Make sure I don't scrunch up into the ear. Okay, from there, instead of bringing the hand back down, reach it down towards the ground as I internally rotate. I pull back up. I'm drawing a bow and arrow, getting that nice openness through the pelvis and that top leg. Bend into that right knee a little more, internally rotate at the hips, reach the left arm towards the ground. Lovely stretch here. Now to move on from that, I'll go back to the other side. Grab your weighted ball, whatever weight you've got, or a dumbbell, or a can of soup, or whatever you've got. And we're gonna add a little more functional mobility to this with a clean, which I will then show the next progression, which is a clean press or a snatch. And it's gonna add a little bit of balance and a lot of bit of coordination. So I'll do it nice and slowly, 2 variations. We hinge at the hips, set the stance leg, set the gesture leg. Set your shoulders so they're not scrunched up towards the ears, they're nice and relaxed away from the ears. All right, from here, you open. Again, your gaze can be down at the pedal. That will be easier than letting it go to the side. But I'm driving this elbow up towards the sky, weight towards my boob here, towards the armpit, and I'm opening that top hip. I go down through neutral, shoulders towards the mat, hips towards the mat. Now I internally rotate. I let my arm go a little past that left leg, or just goes to the ground, doesn't really matter. I'm just letting that right hip go lower than the left. I'm slightly pulling that shoulder blade back on the right side so I'm not super hanging heavily. And then to come out of this, I come slowly to a high knee, clean position, left arm towards me to help me balance. I could add, if I wanted, an overhead press. Now I'm going to do that more seamlessly. So I go back from here into my hinge to neutral. I open up into external rotation. Draw your sword, draw your bow and arrow here. Really spin that top leg into as much external rotation as you can. You'll almost feel a cramp in those muscles. And then, it's a lot of core work. Balancing is, your abs are not on vacation. You go towards neutral. Slowly pass through neutral to internal rotation, looking to the left. Right kneecap shines towards the left. Now I'm going to make this more seamless, a little bit of acceleration. High knee, clean press. So that clean press, I go smoothly from the clean. So I pull up to the shoulder and I go right away, ease fully into that snatch. So this is called a snatch. Then I'm going to do that on the other side twice for you guys to be able to see. So without talking as much, I'm just going to do it hinge. Gesture leg back. Square hips. Okay, I'm not going to talk, I said. So there we have it, that's your hip airplane. So much goodness there. We're working full body functional movement, balance, coordination, core, standing on one leg, hip mobility, great for just avoiding lower back pain. We're working our shoulders. So really great, amazing movement that you should try adding into your practice. You do not need a Pilates chair, by the way, just something to help you balance.